So hello. Yeah, first of all, I'm Nestia on GitHub, Hannes. I work for NitroKey. And yeah, the talk I'm gonna give is more like, yeah, as it says, exploring some concepts. So it's really not any kind of finished thing. It was more like a question. We discussed it also at NitroKey, had in mind, okay, how to get rid of like passwords also within Qubes, because Qubes is like most of our product, like especially the NitroPads, are shipped with Qubes. So that's a big question for us. And so from this starting point, yeah, kind of the adventure started. So what I will talk about is this, and some guidelines I set myself in which direction I want to go. Then I will talk about some like the concept actually I came up with, maybe mention some other stuff where I went into but not really in depth. And then I hopefully will have a working demo. Let's pray to the gods. And and then I also really would like to have feedback from you, and also a discussion about, because what I basically are going to show is really some raw thing which is not really usable for like normal users, but I actually think it's a good idea to kind of bring it more in this direction. But maybe somebody says, hey, that's completely bullshit, and then discuss about this. Yeah. So what's the problem with passwords? Yeah, that's one, we forget it, and then we have to rename our dogs. But another problem is actually that, for example, when we travel, we are on a conference like here, we often are in environments where we actually cannot assure that somebody is not like looking on our keyboard, having a camera out. Actually, microphones are actually also a pretty big problem, because we learned in recent years that even the sound of typing gives away your password. So there are a lot of problems, and if you want to like start your environment, you need to type in your password. So yeah, additionally, we would like to have some solutions for that. One solution is this, which I'm not going to talk about, but I think it's neat. So what? We can discuss this. If we have free time in the office, we can actually maybe produce them. I'm not so sure about this. But we can try. So that was a low-tech solution for that. But yeah, another solution is actually to add like a second factor to like secure your data. So you have a password and something else, and so something else yeah, could be, for example, a NitroKey or a kind of token. Could actually be also a second password, but that makes not so much sense if you want to get rid of passwords. So yeah, the guidelines I set myself is that I really want to stay as close as possible to existing Qubes like default installation, and make it as seamless as possible. And I don't want to kind of like switch off some security features in Qubes. That is actually also the reason why I'm not going into like decrypting Qubes by itself with the NitroKey, which is quite possible. But for that, we would need to disable the USB basically block for DUM0. Not completely, I guess. I think there are ways around, because actually you just need to disable this for the init RAMFS state. But yeah, I looked into it. It actually worked. But yeah, you have to be fine with the USB stick exposed to DUM0, which for a lot of good reasons you shouldn't. So software I looked into, yeah, basically is the system decrypt enroll, which is basically used to use this FIDO devices to decrypt your looks header, and with that your looks partition. And also I looked into keepers X, and actually I will use basically kind of like foreshadowing for the demonstration maybe. I will use KeePassX actually because I really like the split SSH setups we have in Qubes, and I actually at some point, we're at the point where like, oh yeah, I can actually do this also with like decrypting Qubes. So what is the basic idea I came up with? So when we look at Qubes, what we actually want to like where's like our data. And our data is in every cube we use. If we use disposable cubes, that doesn't matter. But all our data we actually care about is in this /rv thing on an extra partition, which is kind of nice. It's on an extra block device. It's on this XDB block device. So basically, what I was looking into is, okay, I start Qubes with my password, but now I'm actually want to encrypt basically everything which is on this block device with a different factor, and how to make this kind of a nice, seamlessly experience. So this is what needs to be encrypted. For that, what I did is actually I need to do some changes to the templates. They might in some places not be necessary, but because normally in the template it mounts this other block device as his RV thing. So I want to get rid of that because otherwise I would have to decrypt it, the stuff in the template already, which didn't make sense to me. So I mounted it as tempfs, which is quite a light change. It's just one line. Then I actually activated RC local. This can actually be probably done differently, but it was the easiest way for me, like for the automation. And basically, I have two scripts which are there for creating and for open the encrypted home. And that is missing here, I realized for the split Lux, I call it now. Maybe it's not the best name. I actually added some QRX service, basically, like if you are aware of how a split SSH works, it's basically kind of the same. It's not using the socket, but yeah, it's kind of the same. Yeah, I come to some other ideas later. So how this works, and it actually works quite well. The initial encryption of the home is like you just look, okay, is XCB already formatted? No, okay, let's format it. Are we in a template? No, then let's format it. Yeah, you see there were some learnings. It's a good reason to do that on test hardware. Yeah, then open it. Then if we want to use the FIDO device, then we obviously attach our Nitro key, our solo key, whatever, to the app, and then just run this system crypt enroll thing. It really works seamlessly, kind of. Then we need to create the file system, and actually then I just copy the old file system to the new file system because I'm lazy. There's probably a better way to do that. And then I switch off the VM because that's kind of the initial step. And from now on, every time this VM starts, crypt setup opens this data. Here also again, if you use a FIDO device on startup, and here you come to the point why I actually then later use this KeePassX, because on every startup, on every VM, you have to do that. You always have to attach the Nitro key, maybe with these changes that you can kind of automatically or much easier attach a Nitro key or a FIDO device. That actually would make sense to go more in this direction and then decrypt it. Yeah, the lower part probably can change a little bit, but because normally, like, the app VM starts and it starts the user session, and I didn't want to go too much into systemd stuff, so I let it do that. And so I need to kill the user session, actually remount home and user local and review, then make some SE Linux stuff which needs to be heavy. That's actually quite easy because you just need to restart something. And you also just need to restart the Qubes GUI agent. And then actually it works. So that's like from the technical point here, what's happened. So, and as I mentioned, I had the setup actually also with this nitro key, and then I was like, okay, that's all nice and nice, but I have like, in my normal working setup, I have like a lot of Qubes, which I regularly start and stop and start and stop for a lot of different reasons. And I actually don't always want to attach the nitro key there and start it again and so on and so on. So I just want to have this whole, okay, second factor thing existing like for one time after the boot basically. So then I came up with this, or this idea came to me because split SSH with KeyPassX works a lot in the same way. Okay, I started, then I start my vault, I open KeyPassX with my key, because that's actually a quite new feature nowadays, that you can do this via this SHA-1 HMAC security challenge. And then actually this KeyPass database is open, which has like a long password in it, which is used to decrypt. Then the home KeyPassX has a nice feature that it can be used as secret service in a OS. So actually you can ask the KeyPassX, hey, give me this password. So this is a mechanism I use. And then it's basically the same again. So with this, I actually now can kind of seamlessly start these Qubes again and restart them again, and also have like kind of like groups of Qubes which are differently encrypted. For example, I have work, I'm a journalist and I work on this article, and all these I have, for that I have a different KeyPassX database. In this database there is this encryption key for all the Qubes I use regarding to this work, but then I have like my presentation, which I go use in a conference. It's in a different KeyPass. So like the password for that. And so with this process, I actually can have like a lot of spheres which are differently encrypted. And actually when my laptop is, for example, taken from me or whatever, somebody watched me typing my password, I actually can ensure that I actually maybe not able to decrypt certain parts of my Qubes installation, because I don't have maybe access to this one KeyPassX, because I don't have the key which is used to decrypt that with me. So with that, it gives me like a lot of flexibility and erases probably the need of have like a lot of different hard drives lying around, and I can all put the data in one system. So that's basically the idea behind it. So now it's time for demonstration. So what I will demonstrate now is basically the whole split LUKS. Maybe this is really not the best name, but this whole setup. So I will use a template, a special template to create a cube, then initial starts this, and then we will see how this initial starting goes. You don't see much because there is no UI at this moment for all that stuff. And then in the second round, I start it again, and then you see how, I basically will show you the mount that you see, okay, it's actually encrypted device. So maybe not so spectacular, but yeah. How do I get away from this? No. Oh. Let's do it like this. So the first thing I'm doing is searching for USB port. So there it says my nitro key was available. So the first thing I do is actually start the vault, because I just started the laptop. Yeah, for whatever reason, this needs to be done. So this starts the daemon to restarts the daemon for keepers X to be able to kind of find the nitro key. We need to find out why this is needed, but so I connect the nitro key to the vault, and then I start the keepers. Here it sees that, so I just can say unlock. And here you already see I have here's a password. I can show it, it's like this. Don't use this password anywhere. So basically it's a password with a special title. So what my script is doing is basically search for a password with exactly that title. So now I'm the Qubes create. Again, really thankful for the whole redesign stuff. So here I have the special Fedora template where I just did the changes I told you. Maybe call it demo. So we create this. And now we have it here. Now we start it for the first time. And if no, it will not work. This will work, but another thing will not work. So let me just, we need to enable this, and for whatever reason, GNOME keyring is really eager to, you see it's proof of concept. So now we enable this as secret service. And so now it's the first time, so it takes the password from here to basically format XDB, and then it shuts down basically. So we wait for it to shut down. Actually not sure why it asks there twice, but so it now shuts down, but now it's basically a cube how we want it. And now we start it again. It asks, let's see this pop-up here. And now if we start a terminal, for some reason I had to put a timeout for sleep for 10 seconds and before I start the GUI, but here it is. Now if you see mount, you can see here that we actually mounted DevMapper data, which is an encrypted home basically now.
What happened to your home directory? You're starting in slash.
What?
The current directory is slash, not home.
Yeah, I'm actually not sure why this is happening, but we can go there. I think there are a lot of things going on here, which is probably not the proper way of doing it. So I guess to just restart the GUI is but let's go back to the presentation, because I have the point of what is actually not working and what is maybe also not really the way to do it like this. So there we have it. So known problems, no GUI for whole the thing. No error detection actually, right yet. Resizing might destroy it because Qubes resizing is actually working quite nicely, but with that another layer is added. So so that's basically something which needs to be addressed or at least kind of locked. And yeah, the whole thing that I let the user session start before I decrypt it is actually probably not the best way to do it. It was just the fastest way to like kind of show that it's working. This is probably fixed by having some systemd service run much earlier to do the whole thing, and then we actually get rid of this whole Qubes GUI restart stuff, I guess. Also, which I have actually now. But what I wanted to show is it's possible and actually quite easily implemented in existing Qubes, and I really like the idea of this feature. And so yeah, my question is, does it make sense to you? But also, what I didn't really look into much is there is this existing split two-factor authentication feature. This might be actually quite easy to be connected here, and also maybe helps with maybe then this whole keeper thing actually doesn't need to be there, and is even maybe a better idea. I'm not 100% sure about this, but this is a way to look into it. And actually, I think it's the talk after me about the whole salt stack and so on. So basically what I wanted to do till now, which I didn't manage, is to actually have like a whole salt configuration for that ready to just be installed like this. But yeah, that's the idea. But yeah, basically that's it. And I open for questions and suggestions in this direction.
Thanks for the presentation. I have two questions, maybe more. First, I remark, yes, adding some systemd dependencies to start it before GUI extension will avoid this issue. It should be just fine. But first is, yes, split, it's called split setup now. It used to be split FIDO2. Is it called, is KeePass using specifically FIDO protocol or something else? Because this split FIDO thing is providing FIDO protocol only, not other features of NitroKeys. So that
no, the systemd crypt and raw specifically use FIDO, so I guess there you would connect and you would leave the whole keeper thing out, because KeePass uses this SHA-1 HMAC challenge thingy, which is, I guess, not connected to FIDO. So yeah, so if you would look into that, then it would be more like, yeah, as an addition to KeePass.
Okay. And the second question is more complicated about the basic design here. So this is decrypting the data partition from within the VM.
Yes.
Have you considered doing it from the outside, like in the DOM0, to provide some device that VM already sees as decrypted, like it's done transparently for the VM? A bit more context, we do have kind of support for similar thing for swap and non-persistent partitions. There is a ephemeral volatile something property you can enable it. It will provide a looks encrypted device with a random key that gets discarded each time. So it could be maybe extended with some static key that is persistent and stored somewhere. But it means you have some extra code in DOM0 that need to talk to some parts, maybe also to the key pass using some API. And then probably you won't be able to use this systemd script and roll, because we don't want that in DOM0 talking on the VM data. I don't know. Have you considered both cases?
I have considered both cases, but yeah, for me that came really clear. Okay, I need to change stuff in DOM0. I actually also need to change stuff kind of to the core, how Qubes is doing stuff. I actually didn't see this feature. If I would have seen it, maybe I would even go more in this direction. And for me, it was really like keep it as simple as possible to be implemented on existing Qubes. So changing stuff in DOM0 really was kind of a I don't want to touch it thing. Okay. Because of that, I didn't look into it. But I would say if to implement it like deeper into Qubes, it totally makes sense to do it like that way, transparent to the app VM by itself.
Yeah, doing it from DOM0 has one more advantage, that it doesn't depend. VM doesn't need any integration, so you can also apply it to Windows VMs, for example. Which with the current approach you would need some separate instance. Yeah, so some things to consider, but it would need to be significantly different, I would guess. Yeah, maybe. I don't know. Thanks.
Hi. If I recall correctly, there is some guide somewhere about using a neutral key to unlock the user login on DOM0. Have you looked into that at all?
Yes, there is a way to do that. Again, it's changing a lot in DOM0, so because of that, it kind of fell out. And you actually, I think they kind of using the C tab.
I think it was the C tab, yeah. So it kind of scooted around the attaching it directly.
Yeah, and you need to enable stuff on the PAM level, but it looked quite workable. I actually not really were going the full way of trying it, because it was like, okay, actually I also don't want to like secure the login at this point. I wanted to have really a second factor, and the login I didn't really consider as a, it's like if you have a live CD, you don't need this whole login thingy. So that would be, but it's an interesting idea for like environments where you say, okay, actually we have multi-user Qubes installs, which is maybe an interesting idea for this whole Qubes Air thingy. Yeah. But I guess it works. That's the whole thing. You can make the whole system like use without passwords, but for that you need considerable change DOM0, and actually maybe also a little bit too much as you may want.
Yeah, and for that another question, which also leans more into that direction. On the initial LUKS decryption of the DOM0, have you considered maybe using something, as much as we love nitro keys, of course, maybe a smart card or something like that, which would mean that we don't have to expose the USB to DOM0?
Usually smart card reader is also a USB device.
Yeah,
it's integrated on the board itself?
Usually it's also a USB device.
So the risk would be...
connected to internal hub.
So the risk would be someone could desolder it and use the pins as USB and use... Okay. Fair enough. Thanks.
Thanks for
this problem of not exposing the device, and also what you didn't talk about, also that when you are sharing your USB VM with different devices, they would potentially also could get access if they can exploit something in the USB VM. If you have custom firmware on your token, then you could establish some tunnel to the token, and then that obviously needs some customized token, which is a big step, but then you could kind of get rid of the problem of exposing the USB part. So you have some QRXEC tunnel to your sys-USB, and over this have some authenticated encryption, so that you can talk to really your Nitro key and not something else.
I actually think that's what the split CTAP thing is doing.
No, I don't think that's
No, it
secured
doesn't-
against tampering from sys-USB.
Now I get it. Yeah.
It could indirectly. CTAP and FIDO and FIDO2 provide also a device attestation. So when you generate a key from your token, you get also certificate that it was actually generated by token produced by Nitro key or by Unity or what other companies. You have certificate attached. So you get the key origin this way, and then only that token has a private key. So when you authenticate later, you are sure you are talking to the...
But do they authenticate and encrypt the communication? Because for the such a...
communication itself...
Yeah, but for this you need some static secret.
Yeah,
so
for static secret it won't work.
So I don't think that's probably only working for this remote authentication where you interact.
Yeah.
Static secret is not on the USB, is it?
No, it's on the token.
Yeah.
No, but
in this case,
looks you're exposing it.
Yeah, for in this demo, it was in KeePass, the static secret.
Yeah, but that's on the USB.
But-
Use Mike. Oh, sorry.
Sorry for YouTube. It was interesting. Not have to be here. Sorry.
So two basic questions, I think. So one, the reason you can't do the full disk encryption safely is because you need to decrypt the disk before you can start a separate USB VM. Is that fundamental to how Zen works, or is there a way around that?
I actually did not look into full disk encryption because in my mind, it doesn't really make sense because it's like these templates. I guess you can do full disk encryption with Zen, but I'm not 100% sure how. Nah, with the kernel at least not, I guess. But I did not look into that because in the end it's only the data and kind of the template I already assumed that it's already safe. For sure, if you assume that your laptop as a whole got compromised, then you shouldn't do anything of that.
Mm-hmm. Okay, and the second one's related. Are there any problems with having looks on looks? So nested, no performance, nothing, it's transparent?
Probably a little bit performance, but I did not measure it, but I don't see why there should be bigger problems.
Is it routinely done elsewhere, do you know?
No, but I do it quite often. I'm not aware of like this, but I don't see problems with that. I guess actually in server environments it's more often done, but I'm not 100% sure.
Are you aware of the interface that are provided by KeePass.exe?
As a secret service?
Yeah, can you actually generate on demand based on the name of the VM, for example? Can you?
No, it's really just you talk to them and say, hey, I search for a password with. You can give them a little bit pattern. It's not like please create that for me, but I'm not 100% sure. It may be bugged. I didn't look too much into that, and actually. For security's sake, I thought about that actually, but I was like, okay, now I really want to be that in a one-way discussion here, so nothing can change the password and KeePass. At least I hope that this is the case.
Yeah.
And it's my assumption here. Maybe a good thing to recheck that, because it basically uses this secret service API, which I think comes from GNOME, but I'm not 100% sure.
Because I see like the next step being a service provided so that you can create like VM automatically talking to keypass.exe because you hard-coded the enc like in your thing.
Yeah.
But like each VM could have like their own keys registered automatically, and then since you connect your FIDO key to authenticate inside of KeyPass, then your vault is open without typing any password. And then I was just thinking what KeyPass can actually provide.
Yeah, I think there's definitely room for automation. I'm not sure if that KeyPass would be then the right direction or maybe something else. Yes, but it gives you a lot of things to play around with.
It's supposed to be a discussion, right?
Yes.
So I have some to
Yeah,
something
no, it's fine.
to add to
Use the mic.
So I think the secret service, the API, does provide some way to register new secrets, so it should be possible. And the issue you mentioned that you want to be in one way, I think you still can do that by having two QRexec services, one to generate a new secret and one to get a secret for existing secret. For example, so the one that generates would take, VM demo is asking for secret, so let's generate if not already exist and fail if already exists or something similar. So that should be solvable this way, yeah, I think. And I was thinking a bit more about the systemd dependencies and not killing user session and stuff. Actually, there is tiny problem there. Currently, QRexec agent inside the VM is configured to start after home is mounted. So you have a cycle, dependency cycle there. So no, it would not be a simple change, but could be done, I guess.
Yeah, I actually encountered that. That was the whole way because I did like this home, make it tempfs so that there is some home and stuff like that. So yeah, but really it's proof of concept. So there's a lot of improvement.
Great one, yes.
And actually, yeah, I will put the code somewhere next week, hopefully, on some kind of GitHub repository there. Actually, yeah, I'm really looking forward to Ben's talk because actually because of that, it's not there, because of what I wanted to do is like to provide the salt configurations. Maybe I'm also able to do that after the talk from Ben. Yeah.
So I guess an idea for hackathon time.
Yeah, I also thought about that.
Okay.
Thanks.